The U.S. government subsidizes businesses in all sorts of ways, including grants, tax breaks, protectionism, and regulation. A favorite way to subsidize businesses, though, is through loans and loan guarantees. But when the government acts like an investment bank to help some businesses, it harms other businesses and places taxpayers at risk. Many federal agencies loan out money or guarantee loans. The businesses that receive this financing benefit, as do their customers. But of course, this puts taxpayer money at risk. The U.S. government finances billions of dollars in aircraft purchases. That allows airlines to better afford the jets. But what happens if the customer goes bankrupt? Well, the taxpayer picks up the tab. Something just like this happened after the Energy Department in 2009 guaranteed a large loan to a solar company in California.
I'm really happy, along with the Secretary, to announce today that we've closed a $535 million loan guarantee for Solyndra, more than $500 million.
Things soon turned south and Solyndra went bankrupt, leaving taxpayers with the tab. Similarly, when government-sponsored housing financiers Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac went under in 2008, taxpayers bailed them out. Defenders of these programs, though, argue that government can absorb these costs and that most of these taxpayer-backed finance programs, quote, turn a profit.
EXIM makes money for taxpayers. That's not corporate welfare.
But even when they're not sticking taxpayers with the tab, government creates other victims when it acts as a bank or a venture capital firm. Most obviously, when a government subsidizes a company, it's hurting that company's competitors. Delta Airlines, for instance, was harmed when the U.S. Export-Import Bank financed foreign airlines. EXIM does this in order to help the airlines buy Boeing jets and General Electric engines.
EXIM's support of Boeing means that it supports our competitors. EXIM's support for Emirates provides them with a subsidy of about $20 million in aircraft. And that kind of subsidy, that level of impact, has an impact on Delta's ability to compete with Emirates.
And that's not the only way the Export-Import Bank creates victims. When EXIM subsidizes foreign buyers, that increases demand for what they're buying. Increased demand means increased prices for the U.S. buyers who don't get the same subsidy. This is a matter of basic economics. As trade economist Steven Saranovich writes, when a large exporting country implements an export subsidy, it will cause an increase in the price of the good on the domestic market and a decrease in the price in the rest of the world. Sometimes, instead of making direct loans, government gives guarantees to the loans made by regular banks. In that case, the government is choosing who gets the loan. This creates another victim, the borrower who would have gotten the loan if Uncle Sam hadn't propped up its own favored borrower with a guarantee. This is why economists agree that such government financing, quote, merely shifts production among sectors within the economy, but does not add to the overall level of economic activity. The final victim is the entire U.S. economy. When the government is the lender or is directing lenders through guarantees, money goes to the politically favored businesses instead of the most economically promising. That harms economic efficiency, especially because politicians aren't exactly the best at figuring out where economic promise lies.
As you can see, if you build a better solar panel, the world will beat a path to your door. Building a smarter solar panel is exactly what Solyndra has done.
So while government financing helps some lenders, manufacturers, and foreign buyers, it creates many victims. U.S. taxpayers bear the risk for this lending. American companies who compete against subsidized companies become at a disadvantage. U.S. consumers suffer as subsidized buyers bid up the price of goods. And U.S. businessmen who don't have access to Uncle Sam's backing find it harder to get financing. And the U.S. economy as a whole suffers as politicians, instead of market players, allocate financing around the economy. It's just one more example. Every time the government tries to pick an economic winner, it creates economic losers. These are the victims of cronyism.